The baseball world received shocking news just moments ago that left millions of fans around the globe completely speechless. Justin Verlander, one of the greatest pitchers in the history of Major League Baseball, officially announced his retirement in an emotional press conference that nobody was fully prepared for. But it wasn't just the retirement announcement that sent shockwaves through the baseball community. It was what Verlander said during his speech that truly broke everyone's heart. In a moment that has already become one of the most talked about scenes in baseball history, the legendary pitcher broke down in tears and admitted that his greatest unfulfilled dream was to team up with Shohei Ohtani on the same roster. On the day of this emotional announcement, media personnel were already gathered expecting a routine press conference. Nobody in that room could have anticipated what was about to unfold before their eyes. When Verlander stepped up to the podium, he appeared composed at first, methodically thanking the many people who had supported him throughout his legendary career. But as his speech progressed, something changed. His voice began to crack. His eyes filled with tears. And then came the moment that stopped everyone in the room completely cold. When the press conference began this morning, reporters and media members were greatly surprised to see that Verlander appeared unusually emotional from the very beginning. This wasn't the calm, composed, ultra-competitive veteran that baseball fans had come to know and respect over 2 decades of elite performance. This was a man standing at the end of an extraordinary journey, looking back at everything he had accomplished and everything he had wished could have been different. The atmosphere in the room shifted dramatically when it became clear that this was going to be far more emotional than anyone had expected. Freeman, who was present at the announcement, spoke to reporters afterward and admitted that he was completely moved by what he witnessed. Freeman said that the first thing that came to his mind when Verlander began crying was the realization of just how deeply passionate this man is about the game of baseball. He was particularly struck by Verlander's vulnerability in that moment, showing a side of himself that fans rarely get to see from one of baseball's most fierce competitors. Many people couldn't help but feel emotional themselves when they watched a living legend break down at the podium while expressing his deepest unfulfilled wish. Immediately afterward, all the questions from the press were focused on the moment Verlander revealed his dream about Ohtani. The retired pitcher's words hung in the air like a confession that the entire baseball world had been waiting to hear, even without knowing it. Reporters scrambled to capture every detail of what had been said, recognizing immediately that this was a moment that would be replayed and discussed for years to come. After the initial wave of emotion in the room settled slightly, Verlander directly addressed the most talked-about revelation of his retirement speech. The legendary pitcher revealed that throughout the final years of his career, there was one dream that consistently occupied his thoughts whenever he imagined what could have made his already extraordinary career feel truly complete. According to Verlander, that dream was simple but powerful. He wanted desperately to share a pitching staff and a dugout with Shohei Ohtani. Verlander confirmed that this wasn't just a casual wish or a passing thought. This was a genuine, deeply felt desire that had grown stronger with each passing season as he watched Ohtani emerge as the most unique and extraordinary player the sport had ever seen. He emphasized that his admiration for Ohtani went far beyond competitive respect. It was the recognition of one baseball purist for another, an acknowledgement that Ohtani represented everything that Verlander had always believed baseball could be at its absolute highest level. When asked about when this dream first formed, Verlander paused, visibly collecting himself before answering. He explained that it began the moment he truly understood what Ohtani was doing on a baseball field. Not just hitting home runs. Not just striking out batters. But doing both at an elite level simultaneously, redefining every limitation that baseball had ever placed on what a single human being could accomplish within the sport. Mookie Betts revealed that after the press conference, the entire Dodgers clubhouse was deeply moved by Verlander's words. Betts said he had known that Verlander respected Ohtani enormously, but hearing the retired legend express that sentiment with such raw emotion gave everyone pause to reflect on just how special their teammate truly is. When he heard about Verlander's tears, Betts admitted that he felt goosebumps run through his entire body. Betts revealed that it was all so overwhelming that many people in the press conference room were visibly emotional alongside Verlander. Just moments before the retirement speech reached its most powerful point, everything had seemed relatively composed and professional. Then suddenly, the room transformed into something far more intimate and human when Verlander's composure cracked and his true feelings came pouring out. "To be honest, when I heard what Verlander said about Shohei, I had to take a moment," Bet said with a visibly moved expression. For someone of Verlander's stature and accomplishment to say that teaming up with Shohei was his biggest unfulfilled dream, that tells you everything you need to know about how the baseball world views our teammate. That's not just a compliment. That's a legend paying the highest possible tribute. According to those present, everyone was deeply affected by Verlander's emotional admission. His words resonated because they captured something that fans and players alike had felt but struggled to articulate about Ohtani's extraordinary impact on the sport. Verlander's tears gave voice to a feeling that transcended statistics and awards and championships. It was about the pure joy of baseball and the dream of sharing that joy with someone who understands the game at the deepest possible level. Shortly after it was confirmed that Verlander had made this stunning emotional revelation, reporters immediately sought out Shohei Ohtani to capture his reaction. According to eyewitnesses at the scene, Ohtani appeared genuinely moved when he was informed of what Verlander had said during his retirement speech. Unlike his usual composed and focused demeanor before games, this time Ohtani was visibly touched, taking a longer pause than usual before responding to questions from the gathered media. Many reporters stated that Ohtani appeared deeply humbled by Verlander's words. Sources say that when Ohtani was first told the specific details of what the legendary pitcher had said, including the tears and the admission about his unfulfilled dream, Ohtani was momentarily at a loss for words. For someone who regularly handles the weight of enormous expectations and global attention with remarkable calm, this particular moment clearly reached him on a different and more personal level. Sources close to Ohtani say he has always held enormous respect for Verlander as one of the greatest pitchers of the modern era. The two had faced each other numerous times during Ohtani's years with the Angels, and those competitive battles had forged a mutual respect between them that went beyond ordinary player-to-player acknowledgement. The respect of two people who understood excellence from the inside, who knew what it cost and what it meant. Ohtani, speaking through his interpreter and also directly in English, addressed Verlander's retirement with genuine emotion and deep respect. He expressed that learning about Verlander's unfulfilled dream was both humbling and heartbreaking at the same time. Humbling because he never imagined that someone of Verlander's legendary status would consider playing alongside him to be a meaningful aspiration. Heartbreaking because it was a dream that, despite everything baseball had offered both of them, would now never have the chance to come true. Ohtani said quietly that Verlander is one of the greatest who ever pitched in this game. To hear that he dreamed of being teammates, that is something I will carry with me for the rest of my career. I only wish circumstances had been different and that we could have had that opportunity together. Freeman, who has taken on a leadership voice in the Dodgers clubhouse, later spoke more extensively about the significance of Verlander's retirement and his emotional admission. Freeman acknowledged that moments like these remind everyone in baseball why the sport means so much to so many people. It isn't just about wins and losses and contracts and statistics. It's about the connections forged through competition, the dreams that fuel careers, and the relationships that define entire eras of the game. Freeman pointed out that Verlander's career was by any objective measure one of the most accomplished in baseball history. 2 Cy Young Awards. A World Series championship. An MVP award. Hundreds of quality starts and thousands of strikeouts spread across more than 2 decades of elite competition. For someone with that resume to look back and identify an unfulfilled dream speaks to how profoundly Ohtani has changed the way the entire baseball world imagines what the sport can be. As news of Verlander's emotional retirement speech spread throughout the baseball community, reactions poured in from across the sport. Former teammates, opponents, managers, and analysts all weighed in on what this moment meant. Many focused on the extraordinary tribute that Verlander's words represented for Ohtani. Others reflected on the remarkable career that was now drawing to its close. Still others found themselves thinking about the dreams that sports create and the ones that sometimes remain just beyond reach no matter how much talent and dedication a person brings to their pursuit. Several former Cy Young winners reached out publicly to congratulate Verlander on his retirement while also acknowledging the emotional power of his admission about Ohtani. The consensus among baseball's elite pitching community was that Verlander's desire to pitch alongside Ohtani wasn't surprising at all. Anyone who truly understood baseball at the highest level could recognize what Ohtani brought to the game and why a competitor of Verlander's caliber would dream of experiencing that alongside him rather than against him. Manager Dave Roberts, addressing the situation in his pre-game press conference, spoke movingly about both Verlander's legacy and the significance of his words about Ohtani. Roberts said that Verlander represented everything that was great about pitching in the modern era and that his retirement marked the end of a truly special chapter in baseball history. Roberts also took time to reflect on what it meant for the Dodgers and for Ohtani specifically to be the subject of such heartfelt admiration from a player of Verlander's stature. "He's touched so many people in this game," Roberts said referring to Ohtani. "And hearing someone like Justin Verlander, who has seen and done everything there is to see and do in baseball, say that playing alongside Shohei was his greatest unfulfilled dream, that's a statement that says more about what Shohei means to this sport than any statistic ever could." In the hours following the press conference, a video clip of Verlander's tearful moment at the podium went massively viral across every social media platform. The image of the legendary pitcher wiping tears from his eyes while speaking about his dream of teaming up with Ohtani captured something profound about the human side of professional sports. Millions of fans who had followed Verlander's career from its earliest days through its triumphant final chapters found themselves unexpectedly emotional watching the moment unfold. Japanese media covered the story with particular intensity, recognizing that Verlander's tribute represented an extraordinary acknowledgement of Ohtani's place not just in current baseball but in the entire history of the sport. For Japanese fans who had followed Ohtani since his earliest days in Nippon professional baseball, seeing a legend of Verlander's magnitude express such genuine admiration was a source of enormous pride and deep emotion. As the day drew to a close and the full weight of Verlander's retirement began to sink in across the baseball world, one moment stood above everything else. Not the recitation of his incredible statistics. Not the tributes from former teammates and opponents. Not even the acknowledgement of his multiple championship appearances and award-winning seasons. The moment that would be remembered longest, the moment that captured something true and beautiful about the sport of baseball, was a legendary pitcher standing at a podium with tears streaming down his face, admitting that his greatest unfulfilled dream was simply to play alongside the most extraordinary talent he had ever witnessed. Thank you for watching this emotional and historic coverage. Please share your thoughts in the comments section about Justin Verlander's retirement and his heartfelt tribute to Shohei Ohtani. Do you think this was one of the most touching moments in recent baseball history? What does Verlander's admission tell us about Ohtani's extraordinary impact on the sport? Subscribe to our channel for more interesting and up-to-date coverage of the moments that make baseball so much more than just a game.